Hello, beautiful people. My name is Marika Gare, and this is the Inspiration Trilogy. It's a podcast for women to really connect and empower and inspire each other through sharing stories and advice and anything else that life entails. So, today's guest is Teena Ryan, who is an intuitive business coach, entrepreneurial, I always say that wrong, mindset profiler. You're an author of a book and much, much more. So welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, it's kind of interesting when someone else lists out your qualities and your hats that you wear and you go, oh yeah, I've done that. But you still see yourself as yourself, right? You don't see you don't attach anything to yourself, and then someone goes, oh, so what do you do? Well, I have 4 children. I'm a partner to an amazing human. I work 3 jobs at the moment. So like I've got a lot of stuff going on, but that's just me. Like I like to have balance in all things. So it's a little bit of brain work, a little bit of heart-centered work, a little bit of socialization, little bits of everything in the midst of raising 4 teenage boys. So
oh my goodness, I have got crazy. One, and he's not a teenage boy. He's 5, but wow. I can only imagine what that is like. I mean, it's beautiful raising children, but it's I guess I'm gathering the teenage years will be interesting.
I think I came from a family of girls, so I had no concept of what boys would bring to my life. They bring an essence of practicality and straightforwardness and requiring cave time and not wanting to talk things out, but learning a solution of, do you want to talk about it? Do you need my help in solving it? Or do you need time by yourself? The minute I mastered that with my boys, game changer. Absolute game changer, because then I wasn't trying to be all and fix all. It was like, no, Mum, I think I can solve this on my own. I'm like, okay, well, you know where I am if you need me.
Yeah, because sometimes that can be more overwhelming. But, as mothers, we really want to nurture and we want to fix things and help them through things. But sometimes, they need to do that process themselves, especially as they get older. So I think that's very important for them to gain those tools to be able to do that. So,
but also too when they're little as well, like when they're problem solving and those sorts of things. It's because one of the mummies from school gave it to me when my boys were smaller, and it took me a little while to catch on and to implement, as you do. When you garner all of this knowledge, it doesn't necessarily become habitual or ingrained in your daily practices. But I found when they were small, sometimes it was just hard to gauge, because I'd always say to them, don't have a TV screen on the front of your head. Like, I can't see how someone has treated you, how someone has spoken to you, how you felt about that. I could only gather when they'd had a great day by the energy they had when they got in the car, or on the opposite side when it was like,
it was like, that's it. I mean, when they're little, clouds. They don't know how to process those emotions as such. And with my son being 5, I know if he's really quiet, he's had a really bad day and he's a little bit tired. But, generally later on, he just needs time to himself to process it. And when he's ready, he'll come and talk to me about it. He go, well, Mum, you know what happened today? And he will go through it when he's in his sort of safe zone and happy place. And it's sometimes it's just, I don't know, it's so beautiful raising little humans. It's such a journey in itself,
aren't they?
They're just beautiful. I mean, they can drive you bananas, and we can all do that to everybody. But it's such a joy, but it's so being the one teaching them and guiding them and giving the tools to navigate through life is such a profound job as a mother. So you're always learning, but it's very beautiful.
Yeah, and it was always the case of saying to them, I'm the person that gives you the coping strategies or the skills for the soft stuff, for how to love, how to feel, how to process emotions, how to look at the whole situation rather than they were mean to me. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
what part did you play in it? You know, and the minute that you kind of help them navigate that part, it's like, I can't tell you what it means to be a man. I can't tell you what it means to hold space, to, you know, define really strong masculine boundaries, because they're very different to the feminine boundaries.
So different.
You know, having the right people around them to help them navigate that pathway. And I'm ever so grateful for, you know, the men that I do have in my life that have given my boys guidance. You know, the teachers come along when they need them. I'm a firm believer in that, and not necessarily speaking of school teachers, but, you know, the teachers, the life teachers that will come along and help them. And the same goes for us, you know, because there's always going to be parts that we need to learn. And I've found now, age is irrespective, right? If people have amazing wisdom and skills and tools that you go, oh, I could really learn about that. I don't care if they're like my goddaughter who's 23. There's such profoundness in the things that she teaches me versus, you know, sitting down and having conversations with my partner's mum who's nearly 80. Like there's such difference in the wisdom, but it's still there. You can't discount anything these days based on people's age, right?
Yeah, but that's the beauty of it, right? And this is one of the sayings that I say all the time. You know, they say it takes a village to raise a child, and it's the same as women to have a village around us, all different ages, showing their wisdom and their experiences, regardless of age, as you say. It's all relative, and we can all learn things from other women, young and old. So it's so beautiful. And I've got friendships, you know, with women in their 70s and even 80s. And then I've got friendships with women who are much younger and in their 20s. And it's just, they all bring different elements to your life and different views. And it's the beauty of being women and sharing things with each other. So
yeah, but it's kind of nice to be able to find a really good community. I think there are moments in time where we do need that isolation, where we do need to turn towards ourselves for comfort and reassurance and looking at all of our stuff.
Well, that's the first step to enlightenment, right? Like, and that's something I wanted to touch on as well. So your, I guess, awakening journey, because we all go through it at some points. We get to a certain age, whatever that may be, and we reflect back on situations we've been through or emotions we've felt, past hurts, traumas, whatever it may be. And we kind of learn to look through things with a different lens, and it changes us and develops us. So how was your awakening, and when did that happen? Was there anything that kind of instigated that, or is it something that you've always worked towards?
Or like the spiritual journey was sort of a little bit hit and miss to kind of start. I met a friend who just before I got married, and she introduced me to psychics and card readings, and that was kind of my, you know, I always felt that I was a little bit intuitive or empathetic, you know, like you could walk into a party and read a room and people will go, how do you know that? And I said, it's like writing on the wall. I can see it. But there are times where it becomes more prevalent than it does. And when my second son was born, I had like a couple of days after he was born, and we came home, and my husband at the time just shut down and was horrendous. And then I looked at myself and I went, oh my Lord, why am I here? Why am I with this person? You know, because my babies are IVF babies, so they weren't just a Saturday night and a bottle of wine.
They were planned and prepared.
They were planned and prepared for. But when you have somebody who goes, that's not what I wanted. And I'm like, hey, hang on a minute. That's not the conversations that we had. But what I worked out later on was his past traumas and hurts and things like that had all, the minute he was born, had literally all raced to the surface, and he didn't know what they were, how to deal with it, what it meant moving forward. And so it was a journey over that next sort of 8 years to navigate that. But as becoming a mother really changes you, like in terms of, you know, all of a sudden you've got these little humans that don't come with an instruction manual, and it's your job to prepare them to be able to send them out of the nest and off they go, and to ensure they've kind of got the training and the skill sets and all the things. And I was always very adamant that I wanted to raise men that I wanted to know, that I would be pleased to meet at a party or, you know, a networking thing or something, and go, you're a really good soul, you're a good egg, you know. And I would, and I wouldn't mind spending time with you. But I found sort of over the course of 8 years from when my second son was born, that just my relationship with their dad deteriorated, and I just went, I don't want to raise my kids like this, to think that this is what a normal relationship is like. And I kept going, when am I going to hit my shit tolerance level? You know, when am I going to get to the point where I'm going to say enough is enough? And the minute I did, the relief, and then all of a sudden, all of my intuitiveness, literally just like someone had turned the gas on underneath my butt, and it was just like in full force. And every time my ex-husband tried to tell me, or, you know, he was still my husband then, tried to tell me something, and I'd go, that's bullshit. You know, and then I'd call him on it. No, it's not. And I'm like, yeah, you're lying to me.
Yeah, but you see it with a different lens, right? And it's like, I've had a similar situation in the past. It's like click, and all of a sudden it's like you see every little bit of BS.
You don't even need to see them. Like, you can read it in a text message, or, you know, if they're talking on the phone, or if they're talking in a scenario that's behind you, it's their tonality and their pitch and all. Everything's like the vibration is just wrong. So wrong. And then you go, And so I got better with picking up on the BS detector with my kids, when my kids were going, as they do, he hurt me and he's doing this to me. And he, you know, as you do when you've got more than one child in the house, because it's that constant clash of heads. But I can bullshit detect really. You know, that's one of the, thank you very much for that skill set, is very nice. But I think as I've gone along over the last, what's it been, 7, nearly 8 years, there's been a lot of things that I speak to my dead grandmother. Most people would go, you do what?
No, I do as well. So I totally get that.
We have these same, you know, like, but it's only been a recent thing. I, strangely enough, went to the nail salon to get my nails done. And the woman's, you know, as you get to know you kind of thing with somebody. And then she's like, who's Mary? And I'm like, that's my grandmother. Oh, she wants to talk to you. And then I got this complete download of, it skips a generation, but you are the healers in your family, and you were the women in the village that people would come to and ask for medicinal support, for emotional support when they were birthing babies, when they were grieving, you know, when they were going through all of the life's ups and downs. You were the person that provided the sanctuary and the love and the space for them to heal themselves, right?
And empower them,
And it was like, oh. And she said, the reason why you and your mother don't kind of click is because she didn't get the gift you did. And I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. But I mean, it's not very often that you can turn around and say to people, I channel messages from my grandmother, and it's normally when I'm waking up from my sleep, or she taps the phone line at 3 o'clock in the morning and says, I've got some information for you. And you go, and to the point where it saved my son at a party 2 weeks ago.
Really? Wow.
Where I was just about to go to sleep, and she's going, Darcy needs to leave. He needs to leave right now. and found out the day after I had insisted, he left a party, found out one of the other boys had been tasered for clothes and jewelry and stuff like that. And if I had have ignored it, it could have been him. So I was just, and he goes, oh, I trust you voodoo witchy magic now, Mum.
Yeah.
Finally,
it does. They come in
time
when it's required, and if it's really important, you know, that you will get those messages. And I often have conversations too. You know, I've had a lot of family members pass away, all my grandparents, my brother, my auntie, and numerous people over the years that I've known. And you know, I sort of, in a state of meditation, you can have those free-flowing conversations when you get into that deep consciousness of those sort of well, that's how I like to do it anyway. But you sort of have connections as well during quiet times, like you said, in the middle of the night and things like that, where you get these messages come through. And it's really learning to trust that and listen to it, because so many of us might get that. We're like, oh, I'm half asleep, or I'm just, you know, whatever. It might be so way off, whatever, that you don't listen to it. But, and, you know, but it's once you do tune into that and really listen, there's so much information there and so much guidance, and it really is amazing. I've got to say, it's beautiful. And I love that you got that in the middle of the night, and you know, you acted on that and you contacted your son. And that's, you know, it's, these sorts of stories amaze me all the time, even though, you know, you live it and you experience and you talk about it. It's still that the universe and, you know, the spirit world is so amazing in what we can do with, you know, tuning in with each other. So,
and how connected we all are.
Yeah.
Like I have a very good friend that lives in New Zealand, because we do a podcast as well. But last week for me, it was a crisis of confidence. Like I said to him, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm going to pick up my computer and I'm going to throw it at the wall because I got nothing to say. And then he has a conversation with me and literally talks me down off the cliff and goes, oh, for God's sake, you're not having a breakdown, you're having a breakthrough. Just buckle up, sister, because the ride's going to get better.
I know the last few weeks have been really full on like that, haven't they?
I made the mistake of saying, I've got my life is really calm and smooth at the moment. The minute I said that, they were just like, let's give her a shake and a test and and then he had one yesterday. So it's just this, surprisingly, like he lives in New Zealand and I live here on the West Coast, and it's just like, well, how is that possible?
Yeah,
like,
but it's happening all over the world. Tune, right? I'm speaking to so many different people from all different walks of life and different geographical places, and everyone's going through a similar thing. You're up, you're down, it's here, and it's just crazy. I'm going to blame it on the planetary alignment. And, you know, there's a spring equinox coming up and we're all just releasing everything, getting ready for the rebirth. But this year is a lot more powerful than previous years, I've noticed. And it's a beautiful thing, and a lot of us are sort of awakening to that greater level. So you just got to go with the flow. Go with the roller coaster and it'll smooth out.
But, you know, for me, it's the thing that I can no longer accept anything at face value. I don't know if you're the same, but, you know, people's behavior, the things that they say, situations that come up, and, you know, even like last week having a crisis of confidence, and I'm going, okay, so what do I need to tap in? You know, most people go, oh, it's just a shit week, and just move on. But when you're at this age and stage and level of spiritual awareness, I don't think you can. You can't avoid it. You can't not tune into it. You can't go, oh, well, they're just being an arsehole, and, you know, and not want to look deeper at it.
Yeah.
And go, well, I'm creating my own reality. What is it about me that's helping to create this situation?
Yeah.
And what can I do to be the person that flips it, that changes it, that rewrites the story?
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the most powerful thing, that most people don't realize they are creating their own reality.
Yeah.
You know? And if you're not going out and doing the things that are on your heart, write a book, start a podcast, start a business, tell that person that you love them, you know, want to learn how to become a triathlete, or whatever your poison is at this
Mhm.
particular point in time. What's stopping you?
Yeah.
You know, and the only person that is you.
Yeah.
And your inability to be consistent to your own word.
Yeah.
And that's
Absolutely true. And it's just, yeah, I agree with everything you just said. You said it very well.
but that, you know, that's for me, that's how I like to work with clients. I suppose that our perspective is very unique when we look at how we assist our clients, how we work with them, what that looks like, that all we're really doing is giving them a space to talk about their challenges, the things that are on their mind, the things that are on their heart. And the minute you give somebody a sounding board or a mirror, you know, because that's how we act with clients, is acting as a mirror. The minute it comes out of their mouth, it gives them an opportunity to actually solve the problems themselves. You know, and most people go, oh, I had the answers all along. I went, yeah, but I think sometimes they just need someone that's there to hold the space for them to go, I've got you, and I'm here holding this really big picture vision for you of whether it's your business or your relationship to self, you know, and you see yourself as this beautiful human. I see your light, and I just want to help you peel back the layers of what it is that you want to create for yourself and for your life, and hold that until you can.
Yeah.
And then I can pass that one over, and then I can hold the next big picture, you know, and you keep working, you know, because it's that elevator process. You know, you go up and you come back down again, you go up a little bit further and you slide, and then you know, you start making your way up again. But that's the glory, I think, in what we do, is being able to hold space for people and allow them to shine their light however they choose to. You know, it's not, I think a lot of people have a misconception of what coaching or mentoring is. It's not us imprinting our thoughts and opinions on somebody else. It's giving our clients the time and the space to work out who they are and why they're here. You know, what their purpose is, right? Because once we understand and discover our purpose, ease and flow comes with that. You know, because when you're struggling against what you're being guided to do, you know, and you keep going, I know better than that, and I'm better than that, and I know how. No, you don't.
But sometimes it can be scary. I mean, I've done that in the past with, you know where you want to go, but it's scary. And you know, you do have to think about things, you know, and I'm a solo parent, so you're going to think about, you know, finances and everything else that come into play. But it's just having that duality of masculine and feminine energies as well, and making those right choices. Because sometimes when I see it more as a masculine override, I guess, when you sort of push so far in that direction that you stop listening to your intuition, which is more of the feminine side. So I really love in what you do, in that you do the intuitive business coaching, and you really give, I guess, life skills as well, life coaching and personal development. So how do you sort of teach, perhaps, have you ever had someone come to you who may not be, I guess, on a deep intuitive level? So how do you teach them how to really awaken that and listen to themselves when you're not there as well, to really develop that?
You know what? It starts out with really simple stuff. I like to just drill it right down to something as basic as, do I want coffee or tea? And then where does that feel in my body? Do I want a bath or a shower? Do I want cereal or toast? Really, really simple things, but to endeavor to get out of your head and go, you know, or get whoever's living, you know, say for you, your son, ask mummy, does she want a cup of tea or a cup of coffee? And normally it's that first, and once you start to get comfortable with that feeling that you get in your body as to, yeah, that feels really juicy and good. Or, yes, I'd love a gin and tonic. No, I don't want a glass of wine. You know, whatever your thing is, to keep it very simple, so that when you start to build on bigger questions like, you know, do I want to join a gym or do I want to practice yoga? You know, just as you step up into those bigger questions, you start to it's learning to trust what your body is telling you. And if you can trust it with the little things, then it's much easier a skill set. You know, like it's habit stacking, really, is just in getting them to go, you know, do you feel like a cat in a, you know, like in a solarium, and you're laying on the cushions and life is just all warm and beautiful and cozy and it's delicious? Or do you feel like you're standing outside and it's freezing cold and no, I don't want to do that?
Yeah.
And once people, and human design plays a big part in it as well, because the entrepreneurial mindset stuff is your entrepreneurial mind.
Yeah.
But the human design stuff is all about your energy and understanding how your body's energy works. You know, it's literally a life map once you learn how to read it properly.
Yeah.
So once you understand their basics, it's much easier to show them how they're designed to make decisions. And then that way they can trust the intuitiveness that comes. Mine's gut driven. So my gut will light up like it's Christmas when it's something that's beautiful and delicious and yummy. But if it's something that does not make me feel comfortable, my gut just churns and it's always awful. But for my boys, for example, they don't make decisions like I do. They make decisions like they're going on a Ferris wheel ride. And so you've got to ask them, you know, one of those yes/no questions, but you've got to give them the time for them to process the whole way around. Like if you said to them, do you want burgers or spaghetti bolognese? They'd go, do we want to go out for dinner? Can I be bothered having a shower? You know, all the, you know, so I normally send them away and go have a shower, go play Xbox for half an hour, think about it, and then come back and talk to me. Because where I can make decisions like this, they can't. So me expecting them to make decisions like that, just all it does is frustrate me. And then I'm out of alignment, they're out of alignment, and it's not a happy household.
Yeah.
So by understanding how they have made decisions, it's been really helpful when it comes to teaching clients who make decisions differently to me or trust their intuition differently to the way I trust mine.
Yeah.
Start out with the simple stuff and then they can stack. So when someone comes to them and says, let's get married, you know, if you're not a in the moment person and it feels juicy and delicious, they have to understand that the type of person that says, I love you, sounds like a really great idea, but I need some time to think about
That's
it.
That's a big decision.
Well, do you know what I mean? But as you've been building those skills, it has given you the ability to trust what your body's telling you. And I think that's, for so long, we've all been conditioned that the brain is the answer, that your brain is the thing that will give you the right answer every single point in time, but it doesn't. It's good, but your brain acts like a mother. It wants to wrap you in cotton wool and it wants to protect you. So it'll only ever give you what you've seen, what you've heard, what you've done, what you've experienced before. So
and how you've perceived all of those things.
Yes, but you will sometimes get this, like, you've got strings being pulled, you know, from the front of your chest and going, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but it's really calling to me. And it makes no sense that I'm going to leave a full-time job and start a business with nothing under me but just blind sheer faith. And you go, that makes no sense, but this feels really good. But you don't have to justify those decisions to anybody. You need to learn to trust yourself. And I think that's the biggest thing that we can give to our clients, to our kids, to the people that surround. Trust what your body's telling you. You know, have faith in that, because it's all your spidey senses and it's all cracking everything, and you know, that's all around, and going, yeah, it's like when you walk in a room and go, I'm not doing business with you. It's
you can just feel the yeah.
And you've got to. Whereas I suppose men have been guided to not do that. But for me, I want to raise a generation of men who trust their feeling before they trust their brain. I want their brain to kick in to help make the decision, but I want them to kind of go with the feeling first and then the brain to kick in, because I think if we move our society in that way, I think we'll be much better off.
Yeah.
You know, because then everybody leads with love. And what could be a better outcome than that?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so that's my 2 cents for today.
Conversations we've had today, we've gone through so many different things, and I love talking to you. I love the way that you view things and the way that you articulate it all. It's just beautiful. So look, for our listeners out there today who are interested and intrigued to discuss things more with you and reach out, what's the best way for everybody to do that, to reach out to you?
Probably on social, I suppose, is probably the easiest.
Yeah.
Normally play quite a bit on Instagram, so it's Dharmas and Co. So DHARMAS, N for Nelly, CO. So Dharma is Sanskrit for life purpose. But it's also an anagram for my boys and my partner. So that's how the business name
I love it.
Came about. But to just send me a message on either Instagram or Facebook, which are under the same name. And I have closed my long-term coaching packages for this year. I do have 3-hour sprint sessions that we sit down and we just knock stuff out and get it out of the way, because I like that quick impact ability to help people get past the speak. You know, they think it's mountains, it's really speed bumps.
Just to get started, to really spark that.
Well, just to understand what coaching's about too, you know, and whatever your need for it is. You know, you may come for business, but it may be something completely different that you need assistance with. So that's what I'm choosing to concentrate on now, because there's so many other things going on in my life, and if I want to have the greatest impact, well, then I think that's the best way. But it has been the loveliest time catching up with you today, and it's such a vast difference from when we first met to now. It's been such a growth journey, I think, for both of us. And it's been an absolute pleasure. And thank you so much for having me and letting me do my bit.
And thank you for coming on the show. I mean, I love that we're able to talk about things in such great depth, and we've got very similar sort of minds and what views on things. So I think it's beautiful. So I've really enjoyed today's conversation. So look, listeners, anyone out there who wants to reach out to Teena and just have a bit of a chat, find out more, see where she's at, we'll put all the links and information down below in the bio. And reach out to her. So once again, thanks for coming on today, and hopefully we'll catch up for that coffee soon.
That sounds like a good plan, my friend. Okay. Take care. See you, love. Bye.
Whoops.
Recording still in progress.